So we'll be reading all the slokas, translation and purport. Then we will try to understand, because it is basically a genealogical, how the family progeny of Manu is getting expanded at the request of the Supreme Lord, how Lord Brahma was involved in creating the progeny of this universe. So it's a set of slokas which are describing overall were produced by different daughters and different personalities here. So let me read sloka number 59 now. Tavimau vai bhagavato hare ramsha vihagatau Bharavyaya cha bhuvaha krishnau yadu kurudvahau. Somebody wants to read, or
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhu. Danvat Pranam. Naimisha Mataji, you can read the shloka. Vasudha Mataji, translation, and Paramprabha Mataji, the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam, sir.
Tavimau vai bhagavato Hare Ramsha vihagato Bharavyaya cha bhuva Krishna yadu kurudvahau. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
So
Hare
we'll
Krishna
go for, yes, Mataji.
Translation. Hare Krishna Prabhuji Dandavat. Translation. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. That Nara Narayana Rishi, who is a partial expansion of Krishna, has now appeared in the dynasties of Yadu and Kuru in the forms of Krishna and Arjuna respectively to mitigate the burden of the world. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam,
Purport by Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada ki Jai. Narayana is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and Nara is the part of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana. Thus, the energy and the energetic together are the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Maitreya informed Vidura that Nara, the portion of Narayana, had appeared in the family of the Kurus, and that Narayana, the plenary expansion of Krishna, had come as Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, with the purpose of delivering suffering humanity from the pangs of material burdens. In other words, Narayana Rishi was now present in the world in the form of Krishna and Arjuna. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. So reading sloka number 60. Shwaha bimaninascha agnet atmajam strin achijanat pavakam pavamanam cha suchim cha huta bhojanam.
Hare Krishna. Vasudha Mataji, you do the shloka. Archana Mataji, translation and purport both. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Swaha Swabhimaninas Chagner Atmajam Strin Ajijanat Pavakam Pavamanam Cha Suchim Cha Huta Bhojanam. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The predominating deity of fire begot in his wife Swaha 3 children named Pavaga, Pavamana and Shuji, who exist by eating the oblations offered to the fire of sacrifice. Purport by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. After describing the descendants of 13 wives of Dharma, who were all daughters of Daksha, Maitreya now describes the 14th daughter of Daksha, Swaha, and her 3 sons. Oblations offered in the sacrificial fire are meant for the demigods, and on behalf of the demigods, the 3 sons of Agni and Swaha, namely Pavaga, Pavamana, and Shuji, accept the oblations. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sloka 61. Tebhyo agnayah shamabhavan chatavarishma cha panchacha tadyevaikona panchashat shakam pitur pitamahai.
Hare Krishna. Sudha Mataji shloka. Sharmila Mataji translation and purport both. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Pranams.
Pranams.
Tebhyo gnaya sambhavan chatvarimsha cha panchacha ta evaikona panchashat sakham pitra pitamahai.
Hare Krishna. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. From those three sons, another 45 descendants were generated, who are also fire gods. The total number of fire gods is therefore 49, including the fathers and the grandfather. Purport. The grandfather is Agni, and the sons are Pavaka, Pavamana, and Shuchi. Counting these four plus 45 grandsons, there are altogether 49 different fire gods. Thank you. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Sloka 42. Vaitanike karmaniyan nama bir brahma vadibihi agneya ishtayo yagne nirupyante agnayashtute.
Hare Krishna. Chandana Mataji, you read the shloka. I'll do the translation and purport. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Pranams.
Krishna.
Vaitanike karmaniyan namabhir brahmavadibhihi agneya ishthayo yagne nirupyante agnayastute. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. These 49 fire gods are the beneficiaries of the oblations offered in the Vedic sacrificial fire by impersonalist Brahmanas. Purport. Impersonalists who perform Vedic fruitive sacrifices are attracted to the various fire gods and offer oblations in their name. The 49 fire gods are described herewith. Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Sloka 63. Agnishvata barishadaha shaumyaha pitara ajyapaha shagnayo anagnayashtesham patni dakshayini shvada.
Hare Krishna. Kripa Mayi Sita Devi Dasi Mataji, you can read the shloka and the translation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. So,
Kripa Mataji, your voice is not clear. Is it for me or for everyone?
So it can be heard.
No, it's not clear.
Yeah. Yes.
Not
We
clear.
also can't hear Mataji. We also can't.
Okay.
Mataji, can we say Paramprabha Mataji to do
Yeah,
the
better.
translation, please? Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Shall I read?
Yes, Mataji. Shloka and translation.
Yes, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Agnishvata bahirshadaha saumya pitara ajyapaha sagnayognagnay yastesham patni daksha yani swadha. Translation and Mataji, can you scroll up? Yeah. Translation by Prabhupada ki Jai. The Agni Swatas, the Barhishadas, the Saumyas, and the Ajyapas are the Pitas. They are either Sagnika or Niragnika. The wife of all these Pitas is Swadha, who is the daughter of King Daksha. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Pranams. Sloka number 64. Tebhyo dadara kanyadve vayunam darinim shvada ubete brahma vadinyau jnana vijnana parage.
Hare Krishna. Sudha Mataji, you can do the shloka and the translation. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji Pranam. Hare Krishna Mataji. Tebhyo dadara kanye dve vayunam darinim swada ubete brahmavadinyau jnana vijnana parage. Translation by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Swadha, who was offered to the Pitas, begot two daughters named Vayuna and Daripi, both of whom were impersonalists and were expert in transcendental and Vedic knowledge. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sloka 65. Bhavashya patni tushati bhavam devam anuvrata atmanaha shadrasham putram nalebe guna shilataha.
Archana Mataji, you can do the shloka and the translation.
Hare Krishna. Pranam Prabhu. Bhavasya patni tu sade bhavam devam anuvrata atmana sadrisham putram nalebhe gunashilata. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. The 16th daughter whose name was Sati, was the wife of Lord Shiva. She could not produce a child, although she always faithfully engaged in the service of her husband. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Sloka 66. Pitari apratirupe swe bhavaya nagashe rusha apradhaivatmanatmanam ajahat yoha shamyuta.
Hare Krishna. Naimisha Mataji, do the shloka and the translation. Hare Krishna, I'll do the purport. Padma Mataji can do the purport. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Can I repeat after you, Prabhuji?
66 Mataji.
Can I repeat after you?
You want me to read? 1 minute. Pitari apratirupe swe
Pitari apratirupe swe
bhavaya nahashe rusha
bhavaya nasherusha
bhavaya nagashe rusha
bhavaya nagasherusha
apraru daivatmanatmanam
apraudvai daivatmanatmanam
apradu daivatmanatmanam
apraudu daivatmanatmanam
manam ajat yoha shamyuta
ajahat yoga shamyuta
ajahat yoga samyuta.
ajahat yoga samyuta.
Haribo.
Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The reason is that Sati's father Daksha used to rebuke Lord Shiva in spite of Shiva's faultlessness. Consequently, before attaining a mature age, Sati gave up her body by dint of yogic mystic power. Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. So with this, the fourth canto, first chapter of Shrimad Bhagavatam, entitled Genealogical Table of Daughters of the Manu, is ending now. So basically, this chapter is genealogical table of daughters of Manu. Genealogical means what? Genealogical means through the genes, like how in the modern days, to understand, we marry a men and women and they produce children. So these children are called genealogical. Whereas in our spiritual life, we are all telling, right? Srila Prabhupada, our Guru Maharaj, they are all fathers, grandfathers, something like that. So they are also that we are also children of such great acharyas. One time Bhakti Charaswami, because we all know that Bhakti Charaswami is very intelligent, very eloquent speaker, high philosopher, so much of beautiful person. So many things are like an affluent person. So a journalist was asking, you are so great, looking so fine. So if you produce more children, all the children will be in the use of, like they can spread the spirituality. So Maharaj was telling, yes, I am producing a lot of children. Through spiritually, I am initiating and they are all produced for spreading. So that is the difference. Genealogical means through body, and spiritual children is by getting the Diksha. So what is the difference in the genealogical means? Not necessarily the same qualities of the father can be obtained when a child is born genealogically. Whereas spiritually, we follow the philosophy and so many things are there. So the quality of such children are maintained spiritually. So here, Manu in the early days, Swayambhuva Manu, who was created, Shatarupa, and Swayambhuva was created from the body of Brahma to develop the progeny. So we all know the story, and you might have heard in the earlier verses and all. So Varahadeva has to appear in order to give the earth back so that Swayambhuva can take a location so that whatever he is producing and whatever the dharma which has to be established. The purpose of such creation is that Brahmadeva has to create the progeny, or he has to assist in creating the progeny. Plus, whoever is there, they need to follow this dharma, all these rituals, all these niyamas, whatever there in the scriptures has to be spread. And the basic idea is to establish the dharma. But we know that in some of the cases, like Sanat Kumaras and Prachetas and all, they were completely ignoring the need for spreading this progeny, and very beginning they become spiritually inclined, and they were refusing Brahma's orders. So this Swayambhuva Manu, that is Swayambhuva Manvantara. So Sweta Varaha, that is, there are two appearances of Varaha there. One is Sweta Varaha, another one is Neela Varaha. Only in the Neela Varaha, which has happened in the Chaksusha Manvantara, this Hiranyaksha was killed, eliminated. But in the Sweta Varaha, during the Swayambhuva Manvantara, the Lord appeared to retrieve the earth, which was completely submerged in the ocean. So this Swayambhuva Manu started producing a lot of children, and this chapter is giving so many species were produced by so many people. If you take Kashyapa Muni, son-in-law of Prajapati Daksha, he married 13 daughters of Daksha, and some of them like very famous Aditi, Diti. So we all know that they were all begetting a lot of children, so demigods as well as and the demons. So we know a beautiful chapter, Diti getting pregnancy in the evening, how the greatest demonic demons like Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyaksh were produced by Diti. So similarly, so many entities were produced. If I want to tell you, the Kashyapa had to marry 13 daughters of Daksha, and some of them produced, there is a wife called Surasa, she produced snakes. She produced snakes. And some of them produced animals, cows, Surabhi, there is a wife called Surabhi. She produced cows. Gandharvas, that is demonic minded, as well as godly minded people were also produced. So these people were produced just for the sake of, so this universe is filled with all the living entities. We all know that 84 lakh species of life, right? So human being is only a small portion. And this many creation were done by, the progeny were kept developed. So especially in the same chapter, if we see from sloka number 48 to 66, it is called genealogical line of Prashuti. That is, that family, how many jivas were taking birth, and some of them were giving a different qualities were produced. Now we were all talking about jivas. Similarly, in few verses earlier, we have seen 13 daughters produced the following sons. What are all the sons they produced? Shraddha gave birth to Subha, Maitri produced Prashada, Daya gave birth to Abhaya, Shanti gave birth to Shuka. So all these things mentioned, that is Yuktebaha. Yuktabaha means together. All these children, that is the 13 daughters, they were producing different type of qualities they were producing. Sradha is the presiding deity of Shattva Guna. The Shaktis, Shraddha gave birth to Shubha, right? So what is the meaning of this is that gunas also, different type of gunas, we know that. So this particular woman was producing the murtis for some gunas. See, the qualities, we always talk about the personification, right? When something is there, it is a person. From that person only, all these things are getting generated. So including the qualities also. Similarly, smaya means one is having the enthusiasm to perform the yoga. And another smaya means arrogance. So a person is having the, what do you say, that a good quality, a sattvic guna, and the same time, the same person can have the rajo guna, that arrogance may be there. So these are all produced by these children. Because when somebody is living, they are undergoing so many things, right? They have different qualities. So where from these qualities are coming? These qualities are coming from such progeny creation. Similarly, we are talking about darpa. Darpa means a person who is expert in austerity. Somebody has to teach you now what is the meaning of an austerity. Similarly, the pride is also produced. The generation, some of the generations are having pride. Even the family may be very sort of a very poor family, 2-3 sons in the same family. Everybody will not have the same quality. So these qualities are produced by these people. Sarva gunota patihi. All these auspicious qualities, some of them are very auspicious, some of them are not good for becoming an auspicious person. So these are all the source. Like when these people, when these children were produced, they were all the source for such things. So now when we are coming to previous set of verses, 53 to 59, the greatest incarnation, Nara Narayana Rishi was mentioned. Because, like I told you, Asuras and Suras, the demon and the god, demigod, something like that is produced. Even the Supreme Personality of God is also produced. We know that Kapila Dev was there, Vamana Dev was there. So many things were happening. Similarly, previous set of slokas were talking about the Naranarayana Rishi. So in the group of slokas, we might have seen that how Naranarayana Rishi appearance was a joyful thing, how people were celebrated, how the heavenly planets were celebrating the arrival of Naranarayana Rishi and all. Now here, from this 59 to 66, we are trying to focus on three subjects. Let us try to focus on three subjects, because it is basically an understanding of how the progeny is getting created. The first one here, let us try to understand the reason for Naranarayana Rishi to appear. We all know that the famous sloka, Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiraye. So here, Naram Chaiva, that means the offering is given. Naranarayana. Why the Naranarayana Rishi? Nara Uttamam. He is just like a Nara. Nara means here the Supreme Lord is appearing in the form of Arjuna as well as Vishnu. So this Nara Uttamam is the supermost human being. He has come here to set an example for certain, some type of the qualities. So you may be asking, okay, the Supreme Lord has taken different avatars. Maybe Krishna avatars we can talk about, Nrsimha avatar. Sorry, Nrsimha Avatara we can talk about, Lord Ramachandra we can talk about. All these things have been created, they appeared for certain purpose, to exhibit the potency of the Lord, exhibit of living. For example, when Ramachandra Bhagavan, we all know that Ramachandra Bhagavan is a Maryada Purusha, meaning that he has come to give us the knowledge how a person has to lead his life. Whereas when Krishna, he has given how a person should not have certain qualities to lead the life. So both of them were giving a positive factor as well as a negative factor. Whereas here, Naranarayana Rishi's thing is, he has given us certain qualities to be followed as a devotee. So his greatest thing is the austerity and penances. So Naranarayana Rishi has exhibited the qualities, being a bhakta. A person before becoming a bhakta, he may be having so many different of qualities. Maybe he is charity wise, he may be a good person, he may be having that humbleness, he may be having some qualities to give some donations, feed the poor people, or give them some dresses, or provide them some shelter and all. If you see, the underlining of all such activities is maybe for name and fame. He wanted to do it. Okay, this family has done a lot of pious activities. They are all a very good family in that. But they need the glorification from the society. But when a person wants to move into, what do you say, in the spiritual life, such austerities are very much needed, so that through this austerity, the sense control, because that is the greatest enemy, right? Because we are unable to control our senses. The progress in the spiritual life, so many slokas we have seen how much it is important to control our senses and control our anger, control our lust. So many things they are talking about, and how we have to control the desires of our body, austerities, right? So penances also they are talking. Penances is voluntarily you are going and controlling your senses by completely avoiding some of the items which you are most fond of. Maybe a simple understanding. Somebody is fond of eating. Maybe instead of 3 times in a day, they may be interested to eat 4 or 5 times in a day. But that austerity penances comes when we say during the Ekadasi you need to control. So there also certain type of benefits are giving. You can go for a nirjal, or you can go for only eating some nuts and grains, or you can go and take only some fruits, or you can have some root vegetables you can eat. So many, what do you say that? So many concessions are given depending on how best the person can control, how the person can show his austerity and penances. So similarly, this Naranarayana Rishi is meant for certain austerity and penances. So we all know that Badrikashrama in the Himalayas is the abode of Naranarayana Rishi. So it's a very, very famous pilgrimage place for Hindus. And whoever has visited this Badrinath and all, they could have seen that. Very, very small temple, but beautiful temple with so much of that Lord's austerities. Even today, if you see, of course, it's a seasonal visit to such temples because it's very severely cold place. So even during that a temporary season of going to Badrinath and all, we can see thousands and thousands of pious Hindus are going because it is an incarnation of Godhead, Narayana. Lord Krishna, Lord Krishna as well as Arjuna is appearing in this form of Nara and Narayana. Nara means a human. Narayana means Vishnu. So both of them are appearing. So that is their presence only is available in this Mahabharata, where Arjuna and Krishna together wanted to establish the Dharma. They were fighting against these Kauravas. Even 5,000 years ago also, this holy place was being visited, like Uddhava. If you know the history of Uddhava, Uddhava is considered as one of the greatest servant of the Supreme Lord. He is almost similar to Arjuna. Arjuna, in the initial days, he was in the Sakya Bhav, Sakya Rasa. But Uddhava, from the early days itself, he was maintaining very great respect for Krishna, and he was considering as a supreme personality. So he was so keen with the supreme personality, and when he was coming to know that the supreme personality is going to end his pastimes and leave this material world, Uddhava is having so much of closeness with Lord Krishna, and he wanted to avoid that separation. So Uddhava, you all know that particular chapter when Uddhava is meeting the Supreme Lord in Prabhas Kshetra, when Supreme Lord was he is taking rest, and when the entire Yadu dynasty was completely eliminated, the Supreme Lord is looking for a time to leave this material world. It is sort of a disappearance, not to think about like how we are leaving our body. It is not going to happen for Lord Krishna and all. It is just he wanted to disappear from this material world. So that is the time Uddhava, he wanted to avoid this distress of getting separated from the Supreme Lord. So he was meeting the Supreme Lord, and he was advised to proceed to Badrikashrama because he says you can go and take association from the devotees of Narayana Rishi. Narayana Rishi means, why we are calling him as a Rishi means, he was setting an example for the austerities. So if somebody is following such a sadhu, such a Rishi, so definitely such devotees will also be developed so many good qualities by learning from such great Rishis. So he was advised. Why he was advised? Because Krishna about to leave, he was telling, some of them were asking, Krishna, you are going to leave. So where from we are going to establish this Dharma and all? He was telling, Krishna Shwadama Upakade. There is a beautiful sloka in Bhagavatam. Krishna Shwadama Upakade Dharma Jnanadi Bisaka. Kalau Nashtat Priyamesha Puranarko Ado Nititaga. That means when Krishna is leaving for his Swadama, the Dharma and the Jnana were going together. That is the great, right? When you wanted to establish the Dharma, you need to have the Jnana and as well as Dharma should be there. But it is all going. So when it is going, what is going to happen for this Kali Yuga people means they will be completely in the darkness. So Krishna was telling that through the Puranas, like Bhagavatam, I am going to be available in the book form. So through this Bhagavatam, you are going to get the enlightenment and you will be getting the light so that you can come out from the darkness. So similarly, Krishna was advising Uddhava that through the association of devotees, you can get the society enlightened with the spiritual knowledge. So association of devotees are so great that Uddhava was advised, you need to go to the Badrikashrama so that the Lord is personally represented by Narayana deities there. So you can get association. So Sukadeva Goswami was explaining the glories of Bharata Varsha to Parikshit Maharaj. And he was glorifying Narayana and the purpose of his incarnation. It's very much mentioned there because Narayana is engaged in austerities to teach the people of the world how to achieve self-realization. The basic idea, the basic requirement for is the Brahma Jignasa. We all know that, right? Atato Brahma Jignasa, the self-realization. So somebody has to teach or somebody has to listen. Understanding, practically somebody has to understand means they need to witness, they have to see. So Narayana Rishi's appearance is so that the achieving self-realization can be practically taught to so many people. Simply by speculation or through the material activities, nothing can be achieved. We cannot say, no, I wanted to enjoy my material life. I wanted to attend a lot of classes. I will go this, I will do that. I will attain self-realization after some time. I will enjoy so many things means nothing is going to happen because you are attached with the comfort. So it will be very, very difficult for you to come out from that comfort. So that is why it is called that austerity. So why in this Kali Yuga, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared is he wanted to give that austerity because it was lacking. People were they were all forgetting about the Vedic needs and they were completely going into the enjoyment mode and all. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appearance is to again revive the knowledge of the austerity. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, right? He is telling, right? So that you can follow such austerity which were given so many thousands of years by Naranarayana Rishi. So in the prayers also, Narada Muni is glorifying about Naranarayana Rishi. So in every part, in every acharyas, in every different scriptures, the austerity of Naranarayana Rishi is given here. Om Namo Bhagavate Upashama Shilayo Parata Anatmyaya Namo Akinchana Vittaya Rishi Rishabhya Naranarayanaya Paramahamsa Parama Guruve Atma Rama Adipatye Namo Nama Iti. This is Narada Muni's prayers. That is, he is offering the prayers to Naranarayana Rishi. Upasamasilaya, that means who has mastered the senses. We are telling, right, Rishi Kesha. So similarly, Naranarayana Rishi has mastered the senses. Uparata Anatmyaya. He doesn't have any attachment with the material world. That is what every acharyas are talking about, right? If at all you want to get the self-realization, if at all you want to completely stop the repeated cycle of birth and death, you need to stop. So, Uparata Anatmyaya, that means he is glorifying here. He is glorifying Naranarayana Rishi, who has mastered controlling the senses and who is having no attachment for the material world. Paramahamsa Parama Guruve, that means he is the exalted master of all the Paramahamsas. Paramahamsa means almost they have withdrawn their senses, they have completely controlled and all. So Paramahamsa Parama Guruve, who Naranarayana Rishi, they are telling he is master of such Paramahamsa, such liberated persons. Atmarama Adipataye. So he is the best of the best of the best of the self-realized persons. So by following such a high quality persons, here Narada Muni is offering the respects and further verses he is talking about how to imbibe such qualities he is asking. So such a great Naranarayana Rishi and he is teaching us through this particular, that his appearance, again this progeny, right? When we go back to the same heading of this particular chapter, the progeny has not only produced impersonalists, not only produced asuras, not only produced qualities, they have produced some of the great Paramahamsas so that they can completely change the society. Vrindavan Das Thakura in Chaitanya Charitamrita, maybe we may be getting some small a confusion in lots different type of appearances, right? So to clarify that, Vrindavan Das Thakura in Chaitanya Charitamrita, he is mentioning Krishnera Swarupera Hoi Sat Vita Vilasha Prabhava Vaibhava Rupe Vita Prakasha. Vita Prakasha. Krishnera Swarupe. Bhagavan Krishna is the original form. From him, different type of appearances are happening. Prabhava Vaibhava Rupe. Prabhava Vaibhava means it is a divisions in his incarnations. Dvivita Prakasha means two types of manifestations he is doing. So what he is describing here is Lord Krishna is having n number of expansions. When we go into that incarnation thing and all, we can see he is getting appeared left, right, center. He is appearing and he is doing so many things. But how do we understand all this expansion is the Supreme Lord is primarily expanding himself in two type of categories. One is the Prabhava and another one is Vaibhava. So two types of appearances is the Prabhava means a completely potent, that whatever Lord Krishna, that potent means the same quality. So we can give an example. The best example of that is Sri Krishna and Ramachandra Bhagavan. So they are all having whatever is their full potency, they came there and they exhibited. If you just take Krishna's pastimes, Krishna's appearance, he has done something which a person, the human being, cannot even imagine. Such type of leelas he has performed, such type of protection to the devotees he has given. So similarly, Lord Ramachandra Bhagavan, the highest potency, of course, he has not exhibited the potency as exhibited by Lord Krishna, but some of the best qualities a person, because that is also a potency, right? How to respect the elders, how to respect the father, how to respect the brothers, how to respect the wife, how to consider their friends. When we see the Ramayana, that Kuha is one of the best friends. How to admire the enemies. Vibhishna, he is the enemy camp. So these are all the qualities with the high potent nature Lord Ramachandra exhibited. So the Prabhava forms are manifested in relation to the potencies. And Vaibhava is in towards excellences. What do you mean by excellences? Means a particular type. Maybe when we talk about Varaha avatar, when you talk about Nrsingadeva avatar, depending on the situation, the Lord is taking certain forms. When we talk about Varaha Deva, the earth was completely submerged in a muddy place. In a muddy place, when you wanted to lift the earth, what do you need for that? You need certain some special instrument, right? We call it as the JVC machines are there, na? So they dig the earth and they pull the mud from that. So similarly, Lord Krishna, when he is taking the Varaga form, this is called in relation with excellences. So he took a specific form so that it is something like the front of his nose is and the horns are looking like it can simply lift the earth from that particular place. So this particular form is manifestation. Here also, again, he is telling about two types of forms. One is temporary, one is eternal. When we talk about a temporary form, that Mohini, Hamsa Vahan, Hamsa Avatar, Mohini Avatar and all, it temporarily he took for the particular thing to happen. When we talk about the Mohini Avatar, when the nectar has been completely churned out from that ocean, milk ocean, so that nectar was coming out and it has to be distributed to the Suras and Asuras. So for the particular purpose, temporarily he has taken the Mohini avatar. So similarly, other Prabhavas which are not very famous, but not famous for our material estimation. The people who may know a lot about Krishna, a lot about Ramachandra, a lot about Nrsingadev Bhagavan, but if you go and tell them Dhanvantri, Rishabhadev, Kapila means only a very few set of people who are constantly associated in a Vaishnava culture, they may be knowing all that. So similarly, this Prabhavas and Vaibhava Prakasha, this is the form. Naranarayana Rishi is such a form. So in the first canto, third chapter, we can talk about a different type of incarnations, which is telling, right? Duryo Dharma Kala Sharge Naranarayana Rishi. So it is mentioned as per in this particular canto, Naranarayana Rishi has appeared as the fourth incarnation of the Lord. So technically speaking, this Naranarayana Rishi is appeared in Satya Yuga. So Satya Yuga itself, you may be immediately asking, oh, Satya Yuga means people were that time more better than the Kali Yuga people. So why the Lord has appeared in Satya Yuga itself means Satya Yuga people were also strictly following the austerity and penances, right? So that importance has to be completely told. Yes, you guys are doing a wonderful job. Through this austerity and penances, how much we can retain our spiritual potencies. So that is the reason some of the qualities of the Lord were established in the beginning of the yugas itself. So they were expecting it. Slowly we can see that these are all falling down. Such great austerity penances were slowly missing in Dwapar, missing in Treta. Then when it comes to Kali Yuga, it is completely we cannot see that much of austerity and penances amongst the normal people. What we are talking about in Satya Yuga, everybody was following it. Whereas in Kali Yuga, only selected people are only. Once they become Vaishnava or once they become the Bhaktas of Lord Krishna, then they know about all these things. So these austerities and penances, there is a beautiful pastime is also mentioned in the Shrimad Bhagavatam. We all know about Indradev, right? Indradev is always an agitated mentality person. Whenever somebody is doing some penances, some austerity, immediately he will think, oh, I am going to get some danger for my particular post. So this Naranarayana Rishi, because he consider him as a normal sage, normal Rishi only. We have seen in so many other pastimes, Indradev unable to realize that it is a supreme personality is performing that Leela and all. Even the Brahma Vimoka also, Lord Brahmadeva was completely astonished, right? He was completely bewildered. He was unable to know who is performing this Leela. So similarly, this Indradev wanted to disturb Naranarayan Rishi, and he has sent a beautiful celestial girls to this Badrikashrama, in this ashrama, expecting that this Rishi is going to fall in lust with these beautiful celestial girls and all. But unfortunately, what has happened? But the celestial girls were a little afraid. They said, oh, he is the Supreme Lord, but it will be very, very difficult. So they were thinking that Rishi means they consider him as equivalent to the potency of the Supreme Lord. So they had that type of an understanding. So they were feeling, okay, this Rishi, if I am going to disturb, maybe he will curse me. I may be completely become useless in my subsequent lifetime and all. So they were a little afraid, but still they went there. But when they went there to agitate the Naranarayana Rishi, who is other than Lord Krishna, but that Rishi was so much of in a great enlightenment, he was sarcastically, he was smiling, oh, this is the plan of Indradev. And but still, he has not shown any enmity to these celestial girls, and he invited them and he told them, I am very much fortunate to receive you people to host you today. So kindly visit my, because you are like a demigod. There, the humbleness of Naranarayan Rishi was exhibited completely. He never thought, like when we say Durvasha will very, very easily he gets, what do you say, agitated. So yesterday I was hearing one small lecture. So Durvasha Muni has not cursed only one woman, that is Kunti Devi. That is, Kunti Devi has to serve Durvasha Muni for one full year. When Durvasha Muni is coming to Kunti Maharaja's palace, nobody was prepared to host. They were all fear of Durvash, because the slightest mistake in the service, we will be cursed. But Kunti Devi said, I will go and serve. And she was a small child of 10 years only, and she was serving Durvash. And after 1 year, he has given a beautiful a benediction. We all know that. That is how this Pandavas born. So they were telling that only Kunti Devi was the only lady who was not cursed by Durvasha. Rest of them who were served Durvasha, they were completely given some very dangerous curse. So similarly, all the celestial girls, they were afraid of this Rishi. Okay, if I go to this Rishi, what will happen to me? His ashrama he may be. But what happened is, Naranarayana Rishi completely invited them. He offered them. He gave them so many of very sumptuous prasad, sumptuous food he arranged and he gave. And finally he said, I am very fortunate that you people have visited me. By serving you, I become more purified. So that is how even today in international Krishna conscious movement, we have established beautiful centers. Here Naranarayana Rishi, though he is, what do you say, Almighty, he is a personality, supreme personality of Godhead in a different expansion, but he wanted to serve the Vaishnavas. He wanted to serve the God-conscious person. So similarly in ISKCON, we have constructed so many beautiful temples. Some of the temples are, it is like more than a 5-star hotels. And you just imagine those Vaishnavas who are in the brahmacharis who are in the temple, if nobody is visiting the temple, if no devotee is going, even no God worshippers are going inside the temple, how they will feel? But suddenly, if somebody goes, we might have seen in so many temples, when we go inside, automatically those brahmacharis comes, they talk to us, they ask where from you have come, do you practice Krishna consciousness? They are trying to help those devotees either by giving them Krishna Prasad or talking about the science of Lord Krishna. So here in this ashrama, this Naranarayana Rishi, he was completely He was doing so many things for these things. So all the human beings, we also need to develop such type of an austerity, because what is happening is today in today's world, so many people are earning money and so many people are paying taxes, right? Even an agriculturist has to pay certain tax. So we pay so much of GST, we pay income tax, so many things are doing it. But when we wanted to manage austerity and give some donation for certain purpose for the temple, maybe for constructing a temple or for giving some annadana to so many people, we are all reluctant to do that. But what we have to learn from here is we need to do such a type of austerity we need to do. But unfortunately, what is happening is so many people are engaged in so much of yajna, so much of fire sacrifices, so that they can please the supreme, the demigods. Within the supreme, what do you say that? Within the supreme personality, so many angas of the supreme personality is a different type of demigods. So the predominating deity of the fire god is the wife Swaga. That is what it is mentioned. The three children's name is Pavaka, Pavamana, Suchi. So this is again to understand everything within this universe, your activities, your procedures, everything is established through this progeny. So here, some of the verses were talking about how many type of fire gods, something like a 45 descendants were generated. The fire sacrifice is giving is for what purpose the fire sacrifice is done is, it is to give food to the supreme personality of Godhead, because material benefit they want, right? This material world is full of self-satisfaction. We wanted to satisfy ourselves. For that, we need to please somebody. To stay in this material government setup, to get water, electricity and all, we are paying so much of taxes, though it is all generated artificially by our government. But we wanted to thank some of the natural powers. We are getting an oxygen free of cost, right? We are getting an oxygen, we are getting sunlight free of cost. So we have to do certain sacrifice to please such demigods. Again, there are two types of sacrifices we can talk. One is just to thank. That's what in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is telling. If you are not thanking the demigods for what you have received, you are considered as a miser. So people, they just wanted to thank the demigods either for, yes, you have put us in a comfortable situation. Then the second type of people, they wanted to please the demigods more so that they can keep getting more and more and more and more. So such fire gods, we are offering them through the word swaha in mantras, right? Indraya swaha, Adityaya swaha, Brahmane swaha. So many swahas we are doing means that swaha is wife. So when we are offering the ghee, again, if you read about this Varaha appearance, that Varaha appearance, it completely talks about he is a Yagna Purusha. The full description of Varaha Dev is linked to so many fire sacrifices. So the Supreme Lord itself is a Yagna Purusha. So whatever swaha we are doing, whatever fire gods we are trying to please, that is what Narada Muni is telling. Naham tishtam vaikunte yokinam kritayeshuva tatra tishtam Narada yatra gayanti mat bhaktaha. So the Supreme Lord is telling whatever fire sacrifices you are doing and whatever you are offering, okay, it is all coming through my demigods, my subservience, so I am getting it. But here, Naham tishtam vaikunte. The Supreme Lord is not sitting in the Vaikunta. He is always sitting in the hearts of the yogis, where the yogis are glorifying my activities. So what we need to understand is all this swaka, all these things, the fire sacrifice and all is not at all necessary. When we are doing a sacrifice, it's austerity, penances of Narayana Rishi, by avoiding such swahas, such fire sacrifices, fire ceremonies. But if you are glorifying the Supreme Lord's activities, it is equivalent to performing. By putting the ghee, by putting the food in the fire sacrifice, it means you are feeding the Supreme Lord, right? But here, what the Supreme Lord says is, you don't have to do all the sacrifices. Instead, you can glorify my devotees. You can feed my devotees. The Brahmanas, you can see. Advaita Acharya, when he was doing it, Haridas Thakura, he called Haridas Thakur and he said, you are the eligible Brahman in this ceremony. So I wanted to feed you first. When all this Parampara Brahmanas who were attending that rituals, they were all very much agitated. They were all very much angered. What is this? Advaita Acharya is insulting me. Then Advaita Acharya has to prove how Haridas Thakur is the greatest Brahmana. Then they were all happy to see that Haridas Thakur's potency as a true Brahman has been exhibited by him firing the sacrificial fire through the mantras. So that is the greatness of a Brahmana. So the Supreme Lord is telling, so you need to completely satisfy such Brahmana. Shraddha ceremony. What I was talking is the Shraddha ceremony where Advaita Acharya was feeding the Brahmana Haridas Thakur. He was considering, despite being born as a Muslim from the Islamic community, he has gained the qualities of all the Brahmanas. Chatur Varniya Maya Srishtam, we are telling, right? Nothing is based on the divisions, how you are improving in your qualities, how you are gaining the sattvic guna from so many gunas. When you are moving into the Suddha Sattvic, the Paramahamsa stage and becoming the greatest Brahmana, you might have been born as a dog eater. That's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, right? If a dog eater is following the qualities of a Brahmana, then he is eligible for a spiritual master. Whereas Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, though you are born in a Brahmanical family and you are completely depending the Veda, this yagnas only for your material benefit, I don't treat you as a Brahmana. So this fire sacrifice for the material benefit is only just to show the low-lying, low-graded people, lowly, what do you say, that lesser intelligent people to elevate into the spiritual consciousness. These things are done. So this fire is completely for person to understand. We are knowing so many yagnas were performed, right? The Pumsavana Vrata, which is talking about in Shrimad Bhagavatam, one of the examples it is giving, Om Namo Bhagavate Maha Purushaya Maha Vibhudi Pataya Swaha. They will put that Swaha there. What is that? Is they wanted to get a very good male child and all, they wanted to do that. So basically, the worship of Agni is for getting the mantras. The greatest problem is every mantras, every swahas, every fire sacrifice is come with a lot of conditions. You need to have so much of qualification. You need to bring in the 4 brahmanas who knows individually each Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Sama Veda, Atharvana Veda. All the Vedas individually they need to know that. So the 4 brahmanas represent 4 Vedas. Then you need to bring one brahmana who uses the utensils for performing the yajna. Then you need to bring one brahmana who pours the ingredients into that, what do you say that, in the fire sacrifice. And you need to bring another brahmana who is kept as a Brahman. That means he is the Supreme Lord sitting there in front of this yajna. So they offer. So minimum you need to keep 7. So when it is going for the Pumsavarta and other type of Vajpayee yajna and all, you need something like 18 people, 19 people, 20 people, something like that. These 20 people during that 18 days of yajna, how pure they should be there, how sanctified status they need to maintain. So many conditions are there. So there is no need for such things. You can simply feed. And some of the conditions, what they are telling is, we need to follow minimum 5 types of austerity measures every day we need to follow. In that, one is that you need to feed at least minimum 1 brahmana every day. You should not eat alone for you. You have to take along with you 1 brahmana, which is not possible in this modern days. So that is what we are telling. At least you feed some brahmanas. At least you donate something for Annadana, which ISKCON is doing it, which ISKCON is following it. So wherever you feel like that, so at least you will be little happy that I have arranged for some bhojana to the brahmanas. Or we conduct some program in our home. We invite all the Vaishnavas. We feed them with Krishna Prasada. So all these things are completely, we can completely miss out performing this yagna, this fire sacrifice, this swaha. So that is our understanding through these verses. And the last thing, which last verse is talking about the Sati and Daksha. So this Daksha is very much disturbed with Lord Shiva. The reason being, Lord Shiva is considered as the head of Tamoguna. So he was actually enjoying a role like the Supreme Personality of Godhead because he is in charge for that position. So he is a sort of an incarnation for a quality, Tamoguna. This Daksha was not interested to accept it. So when he was performing the fire sacrifice, he was invoking all the demigods. He was offering everything, the swaha, everything he was offering to different type of demigods. But unfortunately, he has not invoked, he has not offered the oblations to Lord Shiva. If you see the pastimes of Lord Shiva and Sati, it is very quite interesting, very beautiful. Despite Lord Shiva was telling, Sati Devi, you don't have to go to this fire sacrifice conducted by your father because you will be insulted. But despite being, she was exhibiting the womanly qualities, jealous and anger. Oh, all my sisters will be there. They all will be coming in good dresses. They may be showing a lot of jewels. They will be wearing their affluences. I need to go. She is literally saying, in the celestial air, so many people are going. That sisters were going, so many other demigods were going, celestial gods were going. They were all wearing very good diamond studded jewels, all these things. And Sati Devi is one of the reasons what acharyas are also writing. So she was very much in need. She wanted to go there and prove that she is more powerful than others. She went there. Unfortunately, things were not in her favor, and it was insulted. And even we all know that another occasion when Lord Shiva was sitting there, he has not stood up there. When Daksha was walking, all the demigods, they immediately out of respect, they stand up there and they were giving their respect to Daksha. But here, this in charge of Tamoguna, incarnation of quality, he has not stood up. He was simply meditating and he was only chanting. Because Purusha Buddhi Sakshinam, Purusha Buddhi Sakshina means your job is always, your intelligence is always absorbed in meditation. So Lord Shiva is exhibiting such quality as a Supreme Personality. Godhead is very much, he cannot be imitated by anyone. So here Lord Shiva was always meditating on the Supreme Lord. So he was doing the same thing that time also. But unfortunately, this Daksha was not in a position to understand. So he was completely insulted, and Lord Shiva was very much upset. And similarly, when he went away from that place and he was doing the meditation again, so that he wanted to control the anger. On the second occasion only, this thing has happened. So when Daksha was completely insulted, he was like, Sati Devi was completely insulted. Shiva was also insulted. So Sati Devi was arguing with her father. But he was not in a mood. He was in a total arrogant mood. And she immediately jumped into the fire and she left her body. So this news was conveyed through Narada Muni to Lord Shiva. And he started. So all the Asura Ganas means Shiva's associates, Asura Gunas. So they were all very much, what do you say that? Completely they were angered. How come my boss has been disrespected? How my boss wife has completely left her body, and they went and that yajna was completely destroyed. So there is a giant called Veerabhadra who completely killed. He was finding it very, very difficult to remove the head of Daksha, and Daksha was removed. So that's a big story going on. Then Brahmadev went to Shiva and everybody was praying, no, Daksha has been given for a particular purpose of developing the progeny. And then a goat head was fixed on Daksha's. Then he took birth again, and that is the Daksha Prajapati, who comes after the same Daksha who comes, and he produces so many children, almost 60,000 sons he produced. And then another 1,000 sons he produced. All the sons were taken by Narada Muni, and they were all completely given the Vaishnava qualities, and progeny was not developed. Then subsequently, Daksha produced 13 children, 13 daughters, and that is these daughters we are talking about. Okay, Daksha Prajapati. So because of that, Narada Muni was cursed by Daksha. You have never allowed my son to settle in their material life. You have made them as a devotee. So I am cursing you. You cannot stay in any one place for more than one day. So that is the reason Narada Muni is unable to stay in one particular place, and he's always moving into the 14 planetary systems, and he's always spreading Krishna consciousness, and he's talking about the glories of the Supreme Lord. So this is how this particular 7-8 verses I was planned, so that we get some little knowledge about what is the significance of austerity, what is the significance of fire sacrifice, and how this Daksha in the second birth created his 13 girls, who were instrumental for this genealogical progeny. Hare Krishna. So with that, we'll be ending our session today. So thank you very much. You want to add anything? You want to have any doubts? We will wait for some time.
Haribol, thank you, Prabhu. Thanks. Any questions? There are no questions. We can end the session here. Okay. Suma Mataji, yes.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, pranams, Mataji. Thank you,
Krishna.
Prabhuji, so much. Prabhuji, we have to follow the austerities. In this Kali Yuga, it is very difficult. Some statements like in Bhakti say, we have to do some austerities. And also at the same time, we know that the Lord Krishna is Bhavagrahi Janardana. And also in one of the shlokas of Nectar of Instruction, it is also given like that over following, I mean, strictly following the rules can sometimes, move us away from Lord Krishna also. And sometimes, so how can I understand, Prabhuji? Like it's all contradicting. So how
No,
one should practice, Prabhuji? Like
no. What exactly you wanted to know? You wanted to know which austerity, which penances we need to apply in this setup, present
yeah,
setup, or
in
what
this
is it
Kali
exactly?
Yuga. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, Mataji. See, Mataji, anybody can do the controlling of our senses. Anybody can do that. So what do I mean by controlling of senses is, I think we have read in some of the earlier, I don't know whether in the same class or a different class, when Ajamila was, as per Yamadutas, Ajamila was doing a lot of sinful activities. But for them, Vishnu Dutas were explaining that Yamadutas, the reason what they are giving this man is doing impious activity is he was eating the food prepared by a prostitute because he married a prostitute, right? Subsequently, and she was the wife, and she was making the food, and this Brahmana was eating such prasadam. So he has accumulated so much of impious activities. So that is what these Yamadutas were telling. So his sinful actions are so much, we will not be in a position to know what type of punishment we can give. So we are taking him to our master, Dharmaraj, Yamaraj, so that he will decide. So that one particular statement, if we want to understand, eating prasadam is an austerity. See, austerity means what? You are putting yourself in a struggle. You are putting yourself in a situation which you cannot follow the rules and regulations. Eating a prasadam, many people are feeling it is very, very difficult for us to do that. We are all in a material life. We have to run for offices. I have to take my bus at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. Whatever bread I am taking it, I'll prepare it, I will eat it. So like that, they are giving some lame excuses for what they are unable to do that. So we need to identify a list of activities which we are performing every day. I'm not telling you people have to do, not you, me also I'm telling. It is very difficult for us to follow whatever is mentioned in the Shastra. If we list out some of the major activities which we are performing, where we can put a control on our desires in how to enjoy certain activities, and you put your control on that and you impose an austerity, maybe eating a prasadam, we can say that. If 4 times eating, 3 times eating, you are not able to follow taking a prasadam, at least you try to take at least my lunch, at least my breakfast, at least my night dinner. I should definitely offer to the Supreme Lord, and I have to do that. See, this I am giving as an example. Some of you may be regularly, you may be offering the prasadam and do that. But many people I know that they are not doing such things. One time morning, they will offer the same food, they will keep it. In the night time also, in case if they wanted to do something extra and all, that extra items, they will not offer. No, I am eating some prasadam from the morning. So like that, we need to do that. Another set of austerity is maybe you are fond of driving a car. You want to have a car for your own comfort. Your own comfort means you want to go from this place to that place. That's it. A small vehicle is enough. But what is happening is immediately we are comparing our neighbor. So he is having a four-wheeler, he is having a SUV. So I should also buy something bigger than that. And you end up buying, you end up taking some loan from your office and you do that. So the purpose of buying that is getting distracted. Here the austerity is your necessities are met with a simple requirement. Simple living, high thinking. Prabhupada is telling right always, right? So similarly, the austerity means how we are going to do that. Chanting of holy name. Holy name people are used to do chanting even up to night 10 o'clock, they are doing it. They are giving a reason. No, it is difficult for me to do 16 rounds in the morning hours. Okay, fine. You may be very busy in your activities and all. At least you put a condition that at least 50% of my 16 rounds I should do before I leave for office. If still you are feeling it very, very difficult, at least you give a practice, at least 4 rounds I am doing it. Maybe 15, 20 minutes early you are getting up than what you are doing it now. So this is an austerity. You are putting your body into certain inconvenience. That is called an austerity. So when we practice like that, automatically what happens is we accustomed to such an austerity for the pleasure of the Supreme Lord. So you feel that this is not at all difficult for me. So we are progressing. That is how we have to practice. Not that from day one we will be like Naranarayana Rishi or we will be like a great saints and all. It is impossible. Through practice only, this austerity has to be improved. Okay, Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for putting more light on this austerities because practically how we should do. So you explained it. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. It was helpful. Thanks. Pronounced.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, there is a question on chat, and then Shilpa Mataji, you can ask. Divya Gopu Mataji is asking, which bhav should we worship Radha and Krishna, as we are neophytes yet?
You mean Radha Krishna deities you are telling, or Krishna's worship?
Divya Gopu Mataji, are you there?
You are talking about Krishna, worshipping Lord Krishna, right? Not that some of them are having deities of Radha Krishna and they are asking how to worship that.
No, I don't think so about the deity, Prabhu.
Okay, let me take it as a Krishna, like a neophyte.
I'm just assuming, Prabhu.
Yeah, neophytes, they may not be going for installing a Radha Krishna deities and all. So as a neophyte, if you wanted to understand, like, so that is what Prahlad Maharaj is telling, right? The 9 forms of devotional service. He is telling 9 different forms of services he is offering. Even some of the acharyas, what they are telling is, to purify yourself and to come up in the devotional service, they are strongly recommended only Shravanam Kirtanam. When you are doing the Shravanam Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam will automatically happen for you. So Shravanam means you need to keep listening so many things. Listening may be easy for some of them than chanting in the initial days. Chanting, they may feel, they may do also, but the focus of chanting, the controlling the mind and all will be little difficult for them. But they have to get the taste. That is what Krishna himself is telling, right? Janma karma chame divyam. So we need to understand about the Supreme Lord. Maybe like in a story form, you just try to enjoy the pleasure of the different type of leelas the Supreme Lord was performing, that Shravanam. So when we hear from a devotee who has already enjoyed such pastimes and all, so the Shravanam is slowly waking up the thought of Krishna consciousness in a mind, because it's an inertia. It is in a dormant state, right? Not that somebody is coming and injecting you a new medicine. The medicine is already available, but it is not working. So we need to activate that medicine so that this spreads, that consciousness spreads throughout our body. So through that Shravanam, when you get the taste of Lord Krishna, then you wanted to do the Kirtanam, you wanted to chant or you wanted to sing the glories of the Supreme Lord. So this is how the progress is happening for the neophytes. Neophytes cannot go for an Atma Nivedanam, or he cannot be the Sakyam, he cannot be surrendering to the Lord immediately and all. Nothing will happen immediately for them. So they need to focus completely on these first 2 steps. So that is what I understood from some of the lectures. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Shilpa Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, about austerities, we do understand because we have faith. So we don't need any logic for any austerities. We know God is pleased. But we do have, family members or some friends who would say, why will God be happy when you are performing any austerities like Ekadashi, if I am doing a Nirjala or if I am doing, I know because I have that satisfaction that God is pleased. But how do we explain this to the others, if at all? Hare Krishna.
This austerity is nothing but one of the Brahmanical qualities, which moves us for a sense gratification. Let us understand one thing. We are not very much interested to please our family members or to please others, but we need to understand the qualities of austerity is one of the requirement to be a Brahmana. So Lord Krishna is very much telling in the Varnashrama Dharma, a person has to move himself from whatever ashrama you are there. Technically speaking, I can tell, outrightly I can tell, we are still in the Sudra ashram only. Because we are all going for work, we are earning money, and so many things are there, and we are doing a part-time job of a Brahmanical thing. We listen to lectures, we give lectures, we go to temples, we wanted to become a full-time Brahmana very soon. So that is what the 4 ashramas are telling, right? At least you have to be a Grihastha, then you become a Vanaprastha. Okay, they are not recommending for a sannyasa stage. At least for a Vanaprastha stage, you will be having most of the Brahmanical quality. So this austerity is like that. You have some 24 big qualities. Maybe if you talk about Rupa Goswami and other things and all, they are giving us some 64 qualities. So this austerity is one of the prime quality where the senses to be controlled. The senses control means when some of the senses are getting agitated and we are not able to control that, what happens is your devotional service is having an hindrance. You are very much attracted with that particular satisfaction and you try to keep on enjoying that satisfaction. So that is called austerity. So when we are doing it, Lord Krishna is very much pleased. So he is giving us certain dates for performing the austerity. He is not telling you have to be fasting for throughout 365 days. He is telling, maybe for our calculation, we say 24 Ekadashis in a year. He says this 24 days, Ekadashi days, you be very strictly follow for controlling your tongue's satisfaction. Rest of the days, he is telling you can eat whatever you want. Of course, a prasadam, very sumptuous food you can eat. That concession he is giving. So to please the Supreme Lord, it is like you are going to the school, right? The school teacher needs to be pleased with what she is teaching to the student. She is telling you, prepare this homework and you come and show it to me. Tomorrow, if the child's father or mother is asking, why should you prepare a homework? What is the need for you to please? You know the subject. You have studied well. So what is the need for you to please your teacher? No need. It is like that. If something Lord Krishna says to develop the Brahmanical quality, austerity is one of that qualities. For that, I have given you 24 days in a year. So you show me whether you are able to do that. You practice. I am not telling you, you need to come out exactly 100% in this austerity. I am giving you a lot of opportunities to practice that. So this is, we are pleasing the Supreme Lord. That is what our understanding should be. Okay, Mataji?
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. We'll end the session here. Thank you, Prabhu. Hari Bol. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha
Vancha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavane vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Ananta Koti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Shrimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Jai Hare Krishna to all devotees. Pranam Prabhuji. Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Prabhu. I'll end the session, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Thank you very
Hare
much.
Krishna, Prabhu.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna to everyone. We'll meet on Monday morning. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Happy
Thank you very much,
Vijayadashmi
Mataji.
to all of
Happy
you.
Dashera to everyone.
Thank you.
Yeah.